Welcome to another episode of Between Our Sheets. I'm Kevin,
And I'm Sasha.
and on this episode, we're talking about some key factors, because we're not know-it-alls, of course, but key factors on how to make a relationship
Last long.
There we go. Last long, like almost 10 years, like ours.
Yeah.
And let's get into it.
Between our sheets. Between our sheets.
So like I said, on this episode, we're going to talk about some key factors of how we've kind of stayed strong this entire time, almost 10 years now. And I guess let's start with you. What are some things that you think we have done to really keep our relationship as together as we have, I guess, so far?
I think a big thing comes back to communication, listening to one another and knowing what one another needs from the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Communication is huge. We talked about that in episode 1.
Yeah.
You know, I think that really is the main key factor in all relationships, right?
Yep.
But then you have other things come along. You have kids, you have, the petty bullshit that we deal with every day. Whether it's a long day at work, it's you just don't want to do
Housework.
housework, just
Now we get to share that together.
oh yeah, all the nonsense, it's like how do you think couples out there can just get through that? Like, how have we gotten through that?
Okay, so I used to be very, very particular on certain things had to be done a certain way. Like there were certain days to clean, certain days to do laundry, and then I feel like as we've gotten further along, I guess, in our relationship, and I've realized like it's okay to sit back and relax and not be so uptight about those things and really kind of enjoy life, right? Because we only get to live once, and enjoy my life with the person that I want to spend it with, which is you, my husband.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like, you have to really, you can't let your emotions take over your relationship, right? You kind of have to sit there. You have to think before you speak. That's huge.
Yeah.
And I've had to really work on that myself, because I kind of feel like at the beginning it was more about, well, I'm going to speak my mind.
Yeah.
But I didn't sit back and think about it before I did that, which could ultimately cause more arguments, more frustration between the two of you. I think, that is one big thing, because if you don't stop and think, you're going to say something that you didn't really mean.
Yeah.
And that's something you're going to regret, right?
And words are powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, those words can cut so deep. And sometimes those words, depending on what you say, like they don't just, get swept under the rug. Like they stick. And it just, there is no like taking it back or saying sorry and forgetting about it. And so it's just really important, I feel, to really watch what you say to each other. And like you were saying, like think before you speak, right? And that's something we teach our kids. Like, think before you act, think before you speak, because you could potentially say or do something that is going to harm you or the other person. You don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah, I think that a lot of the time, a lot of the, small little arguments that we've had have come, have sparked because of that. I think that, we'll say something that we really just didn't mean, and it came out of defense mode.
For sure. Because we had guards up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both came from past relationships where communication wasn't that great.
Right.
So we had to learn with each other, not only how each one of us reacts in each situation, but we also had to find ourselves and, stop trying to react based on what we were used to in the past.
Exactly.
And that was really hard. Honestly, I think that was one of the hardest things that we've had to do.
Was kind of let our guards down.
Yeah. I think, Both of us were kind of at a point where like, this person is not taking control of me.
Yeah.
I've been down that road,
Yep.
but it was never about control, right? It was
No.
about how to just work with each other and how to be in our own relationship and let go of the past.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing too. And every relationship isn't, obviously, we know this, it's not similar to ours. Obviously, this is something that we can compare ourselves to and we can talk a lot about. But that is huge. It's something that whether you come from a separate relationship or, if you have a guard up for something else for a different reason, it's so important to like try and move past that and understand that you don't always have to have that guard up, that you will find that person that is going to understand your feelings. And, you can, when you let your guard down for the right reason and for the right person, it's like a huge weight lifted off your shoulder. I feel you can breathe. And that was a huge thing in our relationship is I could actually breathe. I could relax. I didn't have to feel so tense.
Well, and what about, in your opinion, being open to doing things that your partner wants to do? I think that's something that we sometimes struggle with.
Okay, we need an example. I mean, it is between the sheets, but
Yeah, I'm not talking sexually, if that's what you're referring to. But what I am talking about is, there are certain things that I like to go do. I like to go to movies. I like to go hang out with friends. I like to
He
go to
does.
sporting events. I like to go to concerts. Whereas you sometimes will want to partake, but for the most part, no, I don't want to. So I have to actually let go of things that I enjoy so that we could stay home and go with what you want to do.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, concerts. We go to concerts. Our rock is our thing. We love rock music. So you name a rock concert, I'm there.
Not all the time. There have been a few concerts that you did not want to partake in.
A few out of our 10 years. We've experienced a lot for
No,
sure.
and we absolutely have. You're right. Yeah.
Movies, I've never been a movie theater person. You can ask him, you can ask my family prior to him. Like, I hate movie theaters. They are cold. I'd rather be at home in my sweatpants and be comfortable. And he is all about the movie theater.
It's all about the experience, right? Like, don't you remember, or maybe you didn't have the same experience as a kid as I did, but as a kid, I just remember like the new whatever movie that I've been wanting to see for months is finally out. I get to go get some popcorn, sit in this fully surround sound theater with other people watching this awesome movie. And it was all about the experience and being able to see this 150-inch or whatever size screen it was in front of me with, I don't know, just the actors, the whole process of the movie. And it was all about the experience. And I honestly, so in my, I guess, before kids days, like when I was, I was an adult,
Yeah.
but I just didn't have kids at the time. I literally would go to the movies every week, whether it was by myself or with, somebody that wanted to go or whatever the case. I love the experience of going to the movies. And I don't want to, I understand that you're not as much into it as I am, but I don't want to completely let that go.
No.
And sometimes I feel like I have to. Luckily, I have my cousin. My cousin is huge into movies just as much as me. And actually, he probably goes to movies more than I do now.
Yeah. Very similar styles. Very similar taste. Yeah.
So I do have someone to accompany me when I want to go to the movies. But at the same time, I want to spend that time with you. I want to have that experience with you. And I think that this kind of falls into this whole topic because that's one thing we have learned to do. There are certain things that we need to work on still. like the whole movie thing. Like we haven't figured that out completely, but I think most of what we do together has been a compromise, whether it's me compromising for you or you compromising for me. So I told you something about like what I do and an example for you, and I'll let you speak on it more, but let me kind of throw out there a guess,
Okay.
or at least something that I've noticed that you enjoy doing that I don't as much.
Okay.
And that would be like going to Target
Oh my God.
or, doing a lot of,
I love Target.
yes, you do, doing a lot of shopping in stores that I don't necessarily connect with. And I think that stores that I do connect with, you don't really connect with. So we've had to compromise with that. You with Target, me with Best Buy. That's kind of, I'm a tech nerd. Okay. I am. You're a look at home decor
Yeah.
and, what new pencil came out this week kind of person.
Not
That
new pencil.
I'm just kidding. But no, but I mean, seriously, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's, is that something like you think we've compromised? Is that something you would
Oh,
say?
we do. Most definitely. We have where we live stores that we usually go to. There's Target and Hobby Lobby and Best Buy. Like all these main stores are right next to each other. So it's usually okay, well, if we go in here for you, then we're going in Target or Hobby Lobby for me. So then it's like, okay.
Well, yeah, but for the most part, the how do I want to put it? The actual time spent
Yeah.
in stores that you want to spend compared to the ones that I want to spend time in,
Yeah.
it's completely different. We definitely spend more time in the stores you enjoy. And why I compromise with that is because a lot of the stores that you like shopping in, there are a lot more, not only for you, but for the kids.
Yeah.
Whether that's clothes or, toys, what
Yeah.
the kids don't enjoy Best Buy as much, and I get it. That's a me and only me type of place. Whereas, Target, we can go in and
Literally, we go
we can find your
in.
pencils. We can find the kids' clothes. We can find. They do have some electronics that I enjoy going and taking a look at.
That's
But
what I was gonna say. Literally, we go in. We don't even get past what is it? The kids' clothes and the women's clothes up front usually, and you're like,
peace. Going to
okay,
electronics.
Yep, I'm going to electronics. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna walk around and we'll know where to find you because you'll be in electronics. So
Well, and I have, and I have to do what I enjoy too. Otherwise, if I was in a position where it was nothing that I liked in the store,
you'd be frustrated.
I wouldn't get frustrated, but I think I would just never want to go in. Like there have been stores that I've completely vetoed. Like
oh, I know a couple.
I won't go into Old Navy. I think that place is, and I'm sorry, Old Navy, but I have nothing.
It's so true.
I have nothing in your store that I enjoy looking at. Whereas her, she likes going in looking for the kids and stuff like that, which is fine. Me personally, it's not my cup of tea. Target, at least it's like kind of like a one-stop shop. I can find stuff that I enjoy in there. Not as much as Best Buy, but I can make do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one place I guess I enjoy going into that is it Best Buy for you? What store do you just hate going into that I enjoy?
I never used to hate it, and I don't know if hate would be the word, but Scheels is definitely one that you go to often. I love Scheels. You go into that store often.
I love that place.
No,
they
I
have
do.
everything there other than it's not much of electronics, but I mean anything you want from shoes to clothes to outdoors. By the way, Shields were accepting sponsorships, so talk to me here. Talk to me. But anyway, no, I didn't realize that has never been brought up. I didn't realize you didn't like going to Shields that often.
I don't mind it, but
That's
it's
news to me.
It's usually like you go in and you're like, okay, well, let's go upstairs. And the Shields that we have, I mean, it's not a small store. I don't know how many people have ever been.
Yeah, Shields isn't very. It's not like it's not all the way.
small.
They only have like I don't know say 10 or 15 stores within the US. But I mean,
And we have one like 20 minutes away from us, and it has the Ferris wheel and the aquarium, or like, what is that? Like the big fish tank in it. And
yeah,
it's
aquarium.
really cool. And the kids love it. But when you go in there often, it's just like, the same stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it. I can go and get, they have all the name brand stuff, right? Like they have the nice
Yeah.
stuff. And me personally, if I'm spending money on something, I would rather spend the extra money and get the Nike, get the Oakley, get the,
Oh, yeah. I'm for sure about that.
I feel like at Target, it's the opposite. Target has actually gotten better with their clothing. But remember when we were kids, like we would go into Target and that stuff, it was, I guess it was more Walmart, but Walmart
Okay.
had like
Kmart.
yeah, it was just so like, hey, look at my new Looney Tunes shirt that I got. It was like really trashy, and it has progressed since we've gotten older, and the stores have really
Yeah.
evolved into something that's more.
Don't dog on my Target.
No. I'm not dogging on Target. I'm just saying I feel like
And it has
for the
Starbucks in
money,
it.
well, for the money,
Winner.
I'm not. I don't want to start with Starbucks.
Let's just say Mama's paycheck goes to some Target.
That is true. Yes. I mean, and that's okay. I mean, that's what you enjoy. And that's the whole point of what I'm trying to talk about here.
For sure. We all compromise.
Yeah, we've had to compromise on both ends. But we do that because we enjoy each other's presence.
Yes.
And we enjoy doing things together. And that's a big part of, I think, how our relationship has really evolved into what it has the past 10 years. I think that we have become more of a team.
Yeah.
Rather than just being individually, I want to do this, you do that, and divide and conquer, which we've had to do a lot with sports.
Or with kids, that's a totally different subject.
And I'm not touching on the kids part. I just want to touch on like our relationship.
For sure.
And I think honestly, parenting, since we brought up kids, parenting is a big part of what has kept us strong, I guess, in a relationship.
And we know, real quick, because I know this is brought up a lot, but obviously our relationship when we got together, we both came with 3 kids. So like our children are a huge part of our lives, obviously, and a huge part of our relationship. So that's why often you're going to hear us reverence like our children and like everything about them and what we've overcome, because a lot of it does have to do with them.
Yeah. And I mean,
our world.
Yeah. When you have kids, and anybody can relate to this, that has kids, it's no longer you and I,
Nope.
it's us. Like it's a family. And even beyond that, to be completely honest, the kids come first. I mean, when it comes to certain things, of course, but we have to let go of certain things that we enjoy.
Yeah.
To make sure that the kids either have what they need or are playing a sport that they want to play or are going out with friends and, we have to take them or pick them up, or we have to have the sleepovers at our house, or, it's all of that. And that's, part of parenting.
Yes.
But I think even though we've struggled with some of that in the past, like trying to compromise and agree on how to go about those with the kids, I think ultimately we came to a really good understanding of each other and knowing what you like and are okay with and what I like and I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And I don't even think a conversation ever needed to be had about that. It just kind of fell into place on its own.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
and I feel like when they were younger too, we had to do a lot of dividing, and you went
conquering.
and did, like you did that. I took these and did that, and they all were involved in sports. So that's 6 kids before. This is prior to us really having our daughter together, Oakley. Like we were just dividing it, the weekends or practices throughout the week, and so now that they are older, which by the way, the oldest just turned 19,
Get out of my house.
19.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
But we were just talking about this. Now that they're older, like we feel like we're so much more close to each other in our relationship because now we're actually able to, I guess over the last few years, able to actually like focus more on us in our relationship and on our marriage. And because our kids are so much more self-sufficient that we're able to focus more on us, if that makes sense.
It does. And let's be completely honest. It's tough before, when we have Oakley, who is our daughter together.
Yes.
And with that, we have all the decision making and what goes on with her
Yes.
and us, right? Whereas the other kids, they have the other parent. So there was a lot of back and forth of, well, this parent says no on this, or this parent's, there was always a say that had to be said beyond just us. And that made it really tough too. And that was, something that, that was another hill that we had to climb in our relationship where, if we couldn't get past that, there was no way that we were going to make it,
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, there was a lot of bumpy roads for sure. And that's what I feel. I mean, obviously, any relationship, you're going to have bumpy roads, you're going to have roadblocks, you're going to have things that you're going to have to overcome. But like, if you truly love and you truly care for that person, like, you'll overcome anything because once you do that, the reward is just amazing. It's just incredible. And that's something that I feel like Kevin and I are able to finally experience more so now is just the extent of our love for each other because we're able to kind of relax from the kids when they were younger and really focus on us a lot more now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, now that the kids, from our past relationships are now older and they're kind of more
Yep.
independent. With Oakley, she's still at the age where she has to tag along with mom and dad
Yeah.
all the time, but that's okay because for the most part, she enjoys all the things that we enjoy,
She does.
and we try to make it fun, like whatever outdoor activity we're doing, we try to make it to where we know we're going to enjoy it, but she's going to enjoy it too.
Yeah.
And with that as a parent, you're kind of like, okay, I really don't want to go to this new trampoline park,
But you're going to do it.
but we know that she's going to like laugh and play and just have the best time of her life. So it's like, okay, I actually want to do that because her reactions and her love for whatever we're doing
Yeah.
is actually more important than the thing that I wanted to go do, which, sometimes I got to put away the thought of going to Best Buy or put away the thought of maybe going to the movies. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just with kids, it's a whole new world. And for you people out there that don't have kids and want to know more about just how to stay together as a couple, before you have children, I mean, just in my opinion, practice what it would be like if you ever do want, okay, say you want to have kids at some point, right? Not all relationships are like, oh, we're never having kids, and that's fine,
Yeah.
But the ones that do want to have kids eventually, start putting that into play because I think once you really learn how your partner is going to parent your children,
Oh my
you'll have a
gosh.
better understanding of where your relationship is going to
100%.
be in the future. And that's going to make you guys stronger, right?
Yes.
If you know that your partner is going to be the kind of parent that is just going to be like, no, I don't want our kid doing anything. We're going to seclude our kid. And, I'm just going to be that helicopter parent that's always got an eye on them.
Yeah.
And that's not your style. Maybe you need to have that conversation with your partner and say, okay, well, let's compromise because I feel like there should be some freedom in with the kids. Or,
Yeah.
you just have to kind of plan for the future in order to make your future as a couple stronger.
It is like you truly having a child if you don't have any, and you make that decision. that will be one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences you ever have in your relationship. Because like Kevin said, it will challenge you to levels you never thought it could. But one thing I know is that seeing Kevin the way that he is as a father makes my love for him grow so much more, because he's an amazing father. Oakley is
I'm okay.
Oakley, like, she's just so blessed to have the fathers that she has. Very involved, very loving. And so we're so blessed to have him. I mean, don't.
But that goes the same for you too. I think, you know, you're an amazing mother. Like, you will drop anything and everything to make sure the kids are happy. Sometimes I do feel it goes a little bit further than it needs to,
Yeah, probably.
but I would rather it be like that than you to be an absent parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll
So
never happen.
we can always, you know, we can always see eye to eye when it comes to that, even if there are some frustrating times. I always know that in the end, in the long run, this is for the better.
It is.
Except for co-sleeping. I'm still against that. I'm still against
That'll
the
be another
co-sleeping.
episode.
No, we already talked about that in communication.
Oh, it'll come up again, trust me.
I don't
Okay, 10 years. There's more to it, real quick.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel that that you've learned about me, I guess, over the last 10 years that you're like, wait a second, maybe that you've grown to love more, or you question more, or anything like that?
Well, going back to like what I was saying just a second ago about you being such a good mom, I think since we had one child of our own together,
Mm-hmm.
I have got to experience it from birth to the point she's at now, which is 7 years.
Insane.
And that has really made my love stronger for you, because I see it in a different light now, you know?
Yeah,
I
for
saw
sure.
it with your other kids and how you parented them, which was fantastic. But the experience with watching you have parenting with somebody else and not just
It's
me.
just different.
It was hard.
It's so hard.
It was really hard. But that's okay. I think it was also a good learning experience for me,
Yeah, for sure.
because I got to see how other people parent compared to how I parent. And I got to see some of the positives and also some of the negatives. And I got
Mhm.
to correct my end accordingly to how I feel was right and what was wrong. And those were conversations that we got to have together about how we wanted to parent our own child.
For sure.
And it's that by itself makes your relationship stronger. And I think for those of you who want to know about the now and don't have children,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do everything you guys can and want to do.
Seriously.
Like
Do it.
if he's wanting to travel to Brazil, she's not a big traveler, not you, but just say in this situation, his partner's not a big traveler, but
I'll
he
go.
wants to travel.
No, I'm just kidding.
And but sacrifice the hate that you have for traveling
Yes.
and just do it, because there's something that you want to do that maybe he's not into.
Yes.
But if you guys compromise and work together and, sacrifice, you're not wanting to do something that they are wanting to do, but do it for them, they're going to do the same for you. And then,
It's just an equal appreciation.
well, and not only that, but like, once you get back from that trip from Brazil or wherever it is, you're going to sit back and be like, you know what? That was actually really fun. And I don't hate it as much as I thought I hated it, because I got to spend it with someone I truly care about
Mm-hmm.
and see how happy it made them.
Yep.
And the same goes for the other side, say that he's not into going to concerts, but she loves going to concerts. And, she really wants to go see Taylor Swift. And he's like, God, I hate Taylor Swift. But, go and do it And then at the end of it, you're gonna be like, that Taylor Swift is a fine piece of meat.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and not hate it as much as you thought you did, because you got to see your partner love and enjoy it as much as they did. And honestly, I think that, now that I've kind of talked about it, that is probably even more important than some of the other topics that we've talked about already today. Because
Absolutely. I feel the same exact way, actually.
Mhm.
Making sacrifices
and
for
that only
of your, yeah.
and that not only goes for doing what they want to do outside of the home.
Right.
I think that goes for what goes on inside the home as well. Like, you know, nobody likes doing house chores, right? Whether it's doing the dishes, whether it's vacuuming, whether it's, you know, bathing the kids if you have kids, or dogs or pets, anything like that. If that's what you have and that's what is needed to be done at home, do it together. You know, I wash, you dry. Uh I pick up, you vacuum. I fold the laundry, you wash. It's things like that that make your partner and you appreciate each other more,
Very much so.
because you know that you got each other's back and you're in a partnership in whether it is house chores or whatever the case, you have each other's back, you have someone by your side, and that's what a relationship is, right? Otherwise,
There's arguments.
no, well, not only that, but you don't
Oh,
have
for sure.
yes, and I agree, but that's where I was going to with this is
Gotcha.
you, if you don't have each other's back in that aspect of life and willing to compromise, then eventually you get bored, or eventually you aren't as happy.
You just don't care anymore.
And one thing, we haven't really talked about this much, but something I personally would love to start doing, even if you feel like you're in a point in your relationship where you don't need it, I think doing couples therapy together would be amazing. And I
Yeah.
don't know how you would feel about that, because like I said, this is exclusive to the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it first. But that's something for me, I think would help understand the things that we think we understand about each other, but maybe we don't fully understand. And I think that's something that would benefit to anybody that has in their eyes what they consider a perfect relationship. But I don't think there's a perfect relationship out
There
there.
never is.
But I do believe that everyone has their own definition of perfect, right? And to me, we have a pretty perfect relationship. It
Yeah.
may not be perfect to this person over here or that person over there, but to
Right.
me and to you,
Yeah.
this is our version of perfect. So I think
Yep.
having that therapy or going to therapy and talking to someone who might get across to us in a different way that we can't get across to each other, and make us help us understand each other a little bit better.
So I was actually just talking to somebody about that. So her and
Oh,
her
were you?
husband. Well, no. So her and her husband actually do these things. It's like it's not like, in a sense, it's like therapy, but it's like for marriages or couples, you go in and it's to understand each other on a more deeper level. But it's not like couples therapy. It's called something else, and I can't think of it off the top of my head right
Like
now.
a couple's retreat?
Well, no, like you don't go somewhere. Like you literally go like
It's like
once a
course?
week for, yeah, I guess it would be
With
like
other couples, or just you and the, I guess, therapist or whoever? Like, is it
it's
with
just
multiple?
you and your partner, and then you're just given these like things to complete or like questions to answer. But it's not like, I know it sounds like therapy, but it's not. It's called something else.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to.
But it works. Like she's done it a few times with her husband, and it works because they understand each other on so much of a different level, a deeper level, and it just made their love for each other so much bigger because they do that, because now they're able to understand each other more.
If you guys know what she's referring to, because I mean, no, I'm being honest. If
Yeah.
you guys know or have heard of this or even have participated in something like this, please drop a comment, because I'm curious myself. And I mean, if that's something that we could do, that'd be
Yeah.
great. And I think I mentioned couples retreat. How cool would that be? I think your sister actually does that. Her and her husband, with their church, they do these couple retreats and
Once a year.
once a year, and I think that would be fantastic. Like I think having that getaway, whether it's a weekend or a week long, or with just you and your partner away from reality, just for that little bit of time, get away from the stress of work, get
Yeah.
away from the stress of home life, get away from the house chores, get away from
Reality, really.
reality. And even as much as we love our children, and
Absolutely.
you need that little bit of time away from the kids. You need just the you and me time, mommy daddy time.
That's what
And I
we
think,
tell Oakley.
and it's super important. And, Oakley, especially because she is the baby, never wants to be separated from mom and dad, especially mom. She's a mama's girl,
Very
100%.
much.
But I think as a couple, since we're talking about how we've, become as strong as we have, there are a lot of things that we're missing. Because I think that is one thing that we are missing in our relationship is the away time. And we have had trips
Mhm.
where we've gotten away. We've taken a cruise with just you and I. We've gone to Vegas. We've done a few things, but it's not as often as I think we need as a couple. I think twice a year would be the ideal, I guess, time to get away, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. The hardest part, though, is me leaving the kids. That's really what draws us back. I do not like leaving the kids.
Yeah, and that's completely understandable, And like I said, you're such a good mom that you always want to be there, and especially, when Oakley was little, I really got to see that version of you because it was, well, what if she crawls while we're gone? What if we miss the first step? What if we miss the first tooth that she loses? What if,
Yeah.
And I understand that completely.
Yeah.
But you can't live your life based on that, right? It's you can't. I mean, if you waited forever, then it would never happen. And I think that's another part of our relationship that we have worked on with each other that has made our relationship stronger,
Yeah.
because I have kind of given my insight on what I just said. Like you can't always wait around for that. But I think that we have also stuck around and done what you wanted to do,
Yeah.
as far as, not taking that trip or not taking that overnight stay, wherever it is that we wanted or that I wanted to go. Because
It's so true. There's so many times you're like, let's stay the night after the concert or whatever. And I'm like, it's a 45-minute drive. We'll just go home.
yeah, and I get it. Like
I
it's
like
not
my
even a
snuggle
money
time.
thing, right? Like some people, I get it.
No.
Like financially, it's rough right now. Our economy isn't the greatest.
And we live in one of the most expensive states.
We do, and it's not cheap. But in my eyes, the way I see it, it's like you work hard for the money that you have, and if you could go out and enjoy the money with your partner and use it to have a great night,
Yeah.
then do it. But I understand her point too. Like we did go to a concert, so now we can just go home and enjoy the children. We got
Yeah.
we got our couple hours with each other. Let's go home, enjoy the kids. But daddy likes his time with his wife all night sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's something we don't get a ton of opportunities to do.
Very
So
true.
when the opportunity sparks, it's like, let's do it. If grandma wants to watch the kiddo for the night, it's like, hell yes. Let's do this. But I think going back to not only just us, but everybody
Yeah.
as a whole, I think it's super important to do everything you possibly can before it's too late. We live once.
And it goes by so fast.
Yeah, I know you guys aren't going to believe me at all, except for the people watching that know me. I just turned 40. I know, unbelievable. I look 20. I
yeah.
get it. I get it. I get it. Okay? But I did just turn I did just turn 40, and it's like, where did that time go? I feel like I just turned 20.
Yeah, I know. We actually
How
think about that
how
a lot.
how did this happen? But it happens, and that's life, and it goes really quickly. So why not live life to the fullest? And that's kind of something that I feel that you and I have really brought into our relationship, and
Yes.
understanding that that time does fly by, and we don't want to waste a second of it.
Nope.
You know, Missing a kid's volleyball game, to me, it's like, holy crap, how could I miss that? Like, I know there's another game next week, but I don't want to miss it.
Yeah. Well, and then the letdown in their face too is just,
No, yeah, and that's something else too. But
yeah.
when it comes to our relationship, it's just something that I think that you don't realize you're gonna love as much as you do until you actually do it.
Yep.
No matter what it is, no matter what the situation is. So me personally, that's my advice on how to keep a strong relationship and make it last, and to grow and be stronger in a relationship. That's my opinion. Do you have anything else you want to add that we didn't touch on?
No, my biggest thing is just coming from my past and coming from, with my ex and how that rough that was, is just my suggestion is, if you're in that similar position, or if you're in a new relationship, like, just let love in. Like, in a way, put that guard down, because like I mentioned before, it is so rewarding.
Build the trust first. Definitely
Yeah,
build the
trust
trust.
is that is definitely a key thing, but that love that is developed is just so much more rewarding, and it's
And
worth it. And then you'll be at the 10 years like we are.
and always remember, if you come from a bad past or a bad relationship,
That doesn't mean you can't move forward.
well, not only that, but not
Better.
not everybody's the same, right? Some unlucky people will, fall into relationship of after relationship of the same thing,
Yeah.
of,
Your
whether it just
nasty
didn't work,
past.
it just
Yeah.
didn't work. You two, it was toxic,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't mean the next person is going to be like that. So yeah, you can have your guard up a little bit because you've gone through it 17 times and that's all you think is out there. But just remember that it's not always like that. So if a person is
Yeah.
really showing you that, something you haven't seen before, take it in, accept it, let absorb it for a minute, because that might be something that you can have for the rest of your life, and
Mm-hmm.
something you really enjoy, and something that you never thought you could have. And don't lose that because of somebody else's mistakes from your past relationships.
100%.
Give it a shot.
Always. Always, always.
But that's my advice on how to stay strong in a relationship, even after 10 years, even after all the stuff that we have gone through, whether it's positive, negative, whatever the case. That's my personal advice. Anything else you
Yes.
want to add?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of nailed it down. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just let the love in.
So I hope this has helped you guys. And,
We truly do.
we want to give the best advice that we can, but we're not experts on any of this. We
No.
are solely basing all of our, I guess, experiences and situations that we personally have gone through, and speaking it out to you guys. And I'm hoping, at least I know the people that I've gotten a chance to speak to,
Yes.
they're pretty similar. I mean, it's crazy how much other people's relationships aren't so much different than yours. And I
Just
think,
nobody talks about it.
well, and I think a big part of it is too, you attract people that have some sort of similarity with you, right?
Correct.
So our friends that we have, I believe, are so similar in their relationship because we are similar to them, like we have
Yeah.
the same,
They can relate.
yeah, we relate to them. There we
Yep.
go. That's the word I'm looking for. We relate, you know? So hopefully that is the same situation that you guys have. And I hope that maybe you can relate to us,
Yeah.
and we're giving you advice that you never even thought about. And we want to continue giving you guys the great and powerful Wizard of Oz advice
Ugh.
that we can
Don't bring
on
that
this
into
podcast. So next week we will have another great episode for you guys to listen to,
Absolutely.
and keep dropping those topics and those
Please.
suggestions in the comments, because we love reading them and we love seeing how people enjoy listening to little old me and Sasha over here talk,
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a lot of fun. We love it. And we will see you guys next week on another episode of
Between Our Sheets.
Between Our Sheets. All right, guys. You have a good week. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Between our sheets.